Today I'm going to cover the service-oriented analysis and designing topic with the help of the case study. And the name of the case study is timesheet submission process. So today I'm covering the part one of timesheet submission process. And in the next lecture, I'm going to cover same example timesheet submission process with the help of a prototype approach. A prototype with the help of a prototype approach. So today I'm just covering the service-oriented analysis and designing conceptually, and then we'll cover this particular case study with the help of a prototype approach. So let us start. So today I'm covering the service-oriented analysis and design phase with the help of a case study which is based on timesheet submission process. So I have already covered the service-oriented analysis and designing phases. If you have not seen my videos based on service-oriented analysis and design, please go and visit that video first and then come over here so that you will get the exact idea of what is exactly service-oriented analysis and service-oriented design is all about. So service-oriented analysis. Service-oriented analysis is again divided into three important steps. And these steps are defining the business requirement. So we are developing the web services based on the business requirement received, and based on that business requirement, using that business requirement, we are identifying the automation solutions, automation systems. So second step is what? Identify the automation systems. And the third step is after identifying the automation system, third step is so here we have already identified the services, the service operations, then the service scenarios. So we can call that scenario as a business flow. So that flow, the steps we have identified in second step, and the third step is modeling the candidate services. So modeling candidate services means again diagrammatically represent the requirement again analyzed by the analyst. So analysis, then identifying the automation systems, and then modeling the candidate services with the help of flowchart. You use the flowchart for that. So let us start. Let us see the after service-oriented analysis. The next step is service-oriented design. Service-oriented design. So service-oriented design, when the analysis part is over, means modeling of the web services is over, then the designing process is start. So the prerequisite is what? You have, based on the user requirement, you have already identified the web services and service operations, and you have identified the scenarios required for automation of that services. So automation flow is also identified, and then we are modeling, means with the help of diagram we are converting that scenario into diagrammatic representation. And after the diagram, the next step is what? Service oriented design. So in service oriented design, the first step is what? Compose SOA. So compose SOA is nothing but what? Identifying the services, identifying the operations, and these operations are again combined, composed in a one particular service. So one service is again composed of multiple operations. So composing SOA. Then the second step is designing the entity-centric business services. So here we are designing entity-centric business services in step number 2. Here we are designing application services in step number 3. Here we are designing the task-centric business services in step number 4. And here we are designing the service-oriented business process in step number 5. So total out of these 5 phases, 5 steps, the first step is only composed SON. Other 4 phases are or other 4 steps are based on the designing thing. So let us see this actual implementation of this service-oriented analysis and designing with the help of a case study-based approach. So case study. So here I am considering the case study which is available in Thomas Earl book, Service-Oriented Architecture, written by Thomas Earl book. And from that book I have taken this particular case study. So TLS is one organization attempt to address a problem. They are facing a problem with their current timesheet submission process. So I'm sure I'm including here the problem statement so that you will get the idea regarding what type of problem is again faced by TLS organization. So with their current timesheet submission process by modeling the service candidate. So for this timesheet submission process, we are trying to model the service candidates through analysis phase, and after modeling we are designing this timesheet submission process. So see here the problem. So here the problem is like this. The TLS is one organization who outsource a number of its employees on a contract basis. So they have they use these contract based employees. So these contract based employees, they perform various type of specialized maintenance jobs, and based on their specialization, based on the employees categories, the maintenance jobs are again assigned by the TLS organization to their employees. So they outsource a number of its employees on a contract basis to perform the various types of specialized maintenance jobs. The second step is what? When these employees fill out their weekly timesheet. So this timesheet is again filled weekly. So in a particular week, they fill the timesheet, and in that timesheet they record all the calls, maintenance calls they have completed in that particular week. So when these employees fill out their weekly timesheet, they are required to identify what portion of their time was spent on customer sites. So customer gives the request regarding the maintenance work, so that this maintenance task is again assigned to the employee by the manager, by the clerk or manager, and that task is again performed by the employee by visiting the customer site. So the customer visit the employee visit the customer site for performing the maintenance work. So they are required to identify that what portion of their time were spent at customer site. So they are spending the time at customer sites, and they are mentioning that time in their weekly timesheet. So currently the amount of time for which a customer is billed is determined by an clerk manually. So currently the amount of time for which a customer is billed is determined by an clerk manually, entering the hours from an entering hours from an appointment schedule. So appointment schedule is again one of the tasks performed by the clerk. So whenever the customer calls the organization about the maintenance job, suppose a customer is facing problem in a printer. That particular person is having the printer, and printer is giving some particular problem. the printer is having particular problem, so that problem is discussed by the customer with the clerk. So clerk take the help of this employee, discuss the problem and get the solution, means the time required for completing that particular maintenance job. So the clerk manually entering the hours from an appointment schedule. So that hours are again mentioned by the clerk, that for solving that printer problem, that employee required 2 hours, 3 hours time. So that is mentioned in the appointment schedule document. So published prior to the submission of timesheet. So before timesheet, the task is what? Appointment schedule is one of the tasks performed before preparing the timesheet. And based on the appointment, the task is assigned by the that particular clerk to the employee, and employee visit the customer site, they perform the task, they fulfill that maintenance task, and at the end of the week they prepare the timesheet, and in that timesheet they record all the calls completed in that particular week. So that information is recorded by the employee in the timesheet document. Sometimes the discrepancy may arises when the employee timesheet entries. So the timesheet entry is made by the employee, and that entry does not match with the hours billed on customer invoice. So the timesheet entry does not match with the invoice entry. In that case, the discrepancy arises, and these discrepancies are again resolved with the help of this new application. So that they require a new application to resolve this type of discrepancies arises in case of manual process. The next is what? To address this problem. So to address this problem, TLS has decided to integrate their third-party tracking system with their large distributed accounting solution. They have already accounting system. So along with this accounting system, they are integrating this accounting system with the time tracking system. So they are maintaining that time tracking system is a part and parcel of this accounting solution. So let us see the solution for this particular case study. So the first step of service oriented analysis is what? The defining the business process requirement. So defining the business process requirement. So the first step is what? Defining the business requirement. So it's a part of analysis phase. So let us start the analysis with the help of business process requirement. So business process requirements are like this. So every timesheet TLS receives from the workers outsourced to the customers, it required to undergo a series of verification steps. So every timesheet TLS receives from the workers outsourced to the customers is required to undergo a series of verification steps. So this series of verification steps I am going to cover when I am applying the task-centric approach on this particular case study. So at that time I am listing all these steps, all the series of verification steps I am including at the time of task-centric approach. If the timesheet is verified successfully, when that particular web service undergo a series of verification steps, if the timesheet is verified successfully, then if the timesheet is again verified successfully, then the process ends. and the timesheet is accepted. Whereas the timesheet that fails the verification submitted to a separate rejection stage prior to the process of ending. So, successful and the failure. These are the two outputs of the web service what we are supposed to design with the help of service-oriented and analysis and designing way. So, defining the business process requirement is the part of analysis phase. So from the analysis, we have identified the three important service-oriented business processes. And these three important service-oriented business processes are the part of the timesheet acceptance or verification process. In case of verification process, the first task is what? Compare the recorded hours with the billed hours. So compare the recorded hours with the billed hours. So in case of timesheet document, recorded hours are again included, and in invoice document, the billed hours are again included. So you retrieved the data from recorded hours from timesheet document, and you retrieved the data billed hours from invoice document. So fetching the data. So here we are performing, in case of web API technology, we are performing get operations. So getting the data means get the data from the, access the data from the database. Then confirm the authorization. Confirm authorization is what? For confirming the authorization, get the overtime hours information from the timesheet database. Then get the authorization status given by the customer. That customer is aware about the extra overtime hours, and that customer given the permission for that overtime hours, yes or no, so that authorization is given by the customer, yes or no, so that we require. And if the authorization is given by the customer for that particular overtime hours, then confirm the authorization. So second condition is also fulfilled for accepting the timesheet. And the third condition which is used for accepting the timesheet is compare weekly hours limit with the hours recorded. So weekly hour limit data is again fetched from employee table. So every employee, the fixed hour limit, weekly hour limit, the hours are again recorded in employee master table. And with hours recorded information is again fetched from the timesheet process, timesheet entity, the timesheet table. So all the three conditions are again satisfied, then perform the means accept the timesheet. And one of the case is again fails, then reject the timesheet. So this is what the flow of accepting the service oriented business process, accepting the timesheet. So see here, same thing is again represented with the help of the diagram. So here in analysis phase, the system analyst draw the different diagrams. The diagram may be the flowchart or the activity diagram. So here I'm using the flowchart for explaining the timesheet submission process and the different conditions fulfilled for accepting the timesheet or rejecting the timesheet. So the reading of this particular timesheet flowchart. So the input for this timesheet submission process is the timesheet document itself. The employee, the worker submit the timesheet to the manager. So manager retrieve the data with the help of web service. The billed hours information is retrieved from the invoice table and the invoice table, and the recorded hours information is retrieved from the timesheet table, and these two numbers are again compared with each other. So if the hours match, then the next process is confirm the authorization. In case of confirm authorization, the timesheet data, timesheet table is used, and from the timesheet table, the employee that overtime hours information is retrieved, and for that overtime hour, the confirmation is given by that customer, yes or no, that record is also retrieved. And after that, confirming the authorization. If the authorization is given by the customer and if the status is yes, and then only you accept the second condition. If the confirm authorization is yes, then the next step is what? Confirming the maximum hour limit. So hour limit is what? The maximum number of hours recorded is less than the confirmed hour limits. So if the maximum means recorded hours total is less than the confirmed hours limit, which is again taken from employee table, recorded hours information is taken from the timesheet table and then compared. And if the recorded hours less than the confirmed hour limit, weekly hour limit, in that case only you accept the all the three conditions are again satisfied, then you accept the timesheet, else you reject the timesheet. So in case of rejection, the three important tasks are again performed: updating the worker profile, then sending the message to the manager, sending message to the worker. So under one manager, many workers are again performing their task. So one manager, many workers. Uh, so one manager manages the many workers. So sending the message to manager, sending the message to the worker, and update the worker profile. So after the flowchart, the next set of diagram are again used in web in service-oriented architecture is the activity diagram. So here, with the help of activity diagram, we are again explaining the mapping of the entity services. So how these entities are again mapped, how these services are mapped. So the steps are the successful completion of timesheet submission process flow start from the worker and end with the manager. So here the worker submit the timesheet data with the help of timesheet submission process service. So timesheet submission process service is the main web service, and through that web service the worker provide the timesheet data. In the timesheet data, after providing the timesheet data, the billed hours data is fetched from the invoice table, and from that invoice table the hours, billed hours are again retrieved, and these billed hours are again compared with the help of the timesheet recorded hours. If the hours matched, then accept the timesheet, else reject the timesheet. The next thing is what? Timesheet service. So getting the authorized hour information from the timesheet. So the timesheet table is used, and with the help of query, you are retrieving the timesheet, the authorization means overtime hours information is taken from the database, and for that overtime, the customer is aware about the overtime, yes or no, and the customer given the confirmation for that overtime hours, yes or no. So that information is again fetched with the help of timesheet service, and then the authorization confirmed. If the authorization confirmed, successfully confirmed, then the next task is the you reject the timesheet. If the authorization is confirmed successfully, accept the timesheet. The next is get weekly hour limit. So that weekly hour limit information is taken from employee table with the help of employee service, and then this weekly hour limit is compared with the recorded hours taken from the timesheet table. So under the limit, recorded hours are again under the limit, then only accept the timesheet, else you reject the timesheet. The failure condition. The failure condition is what? You um, you compare the billed hours with the recorded hours. You check the authorization and the confirmation is available for that overtime hour or not. You check that upper limit of that weekly hour limit is less than below that recorded hours less than that upper limit of weekly hours. And if one of the case fails, then you update the history table. Means reject the timesheet, update the history table. So updation history information is recorded inside the employee table. So send the notification. A message is given to the means notification service is again executed, and with the help of notification service gives the output, means raise the that message and communicate the message to the so rejection message to the manager as well as the worker. So see here, notification message is again communicated to the manager, and notification message is again communicated to the worker. Then the next step is after analysis, the designing. So the first designing task is compose SOA. So in compose SOA, identifying the web services, operations, and the operations are again composed to form a single web service. So let us see the phases which are included in the designing process. So designing task-centric business services. So verify the steps included in task-centric business service. This particular timesheet acceptance service is divided into two steps: verify timesheet service and reject timesheet service. So the two tasks. So this is what the task-centric approach. So let us see the task-centric approach one by one. So the task-centric approach, the first step is what? Get the recorded hours for customer and date range. So this is the first series of tasks. As I have said that this is the series of tasks. Get the billed hours from. So the first information is taken from timesheet table. So second information is taken from invoice table. Then comparison of recorded hours with billed hours. So it's a business process. Then the get overtime hours from the timesheet table. Then get authorization from timesheet table. Then confirm the authorization. It's a business process. Then get weekly hour limit from employee table. Get the recorded hours from timesheet table, and then compare the weekly hours limit with the hours recorded in a particular week, and get the customer detail. Customer details are also required for preparing the invoice, and that invoice is again given to the customer. Based on the appointment, the customer data is again retrieved. So the second task involved in task-centric approach is designing task-centric approach is rejection of the timesheet service. So in case of rejection, three different tasks are again performed: updating employee history, sending message to the employee, and sending message to the manager. So updating employee and employee history table is used, and sending the message to the employee, sending the message to the manager. So that information, the message is also stored inside the database, inside the table. So designing the entity. So to perform these different tasks, we require the table structure. And here the three important tables or entities I have identified for this. For this timesheet submission process. So timesheet submission process is again based on three important entities, and these three important entities are invoice. So billed hour information is taken from the invoice table. So the get customer information is also a part of invoice table. So get customer, get billed hour is a part of invoice service. So the service name is invoice, and the operation names are get customer and get billed hours. So this is what the analysis phase. In analysis phase, we are identifying the services and the service operations. So in design means first phase of service oriented design is compose SOA. In compose SOA, in invoice service, we are composing these two methods. So these two methods are again composed in a invoice service. So second important entity which is a part of this particular timesheet process is the timesheet itself. So the task performed on the timesheet is what: get recorded hours for customer, get overtime hours, or get authorization. So these are the methods performed on timesheet service. So the service name is timesheet service, and methods performed on this timesheet service or the operation performed on this timesheet service is get recorded hours for customer, get overtime hours, get authorization. So give the proper naming so that you will get the idea that so in case of designing, so designing the service in a such a way that the developer, analyst, or tester understand the flow or the method itself by just reading the operation name. So entity centric. The third entity which is important in this timesheet submission process is employee entity. So employee entity, the data is again fetched from employee entity is what? Get weekly hour limit. So you take the weekly hour limit assigned by the manager for a particular employee well in advance and stored in employee table. So you get the weekly hour limit number from that employee table and update the employee history in case of timesheet rejection process. So the service name is employee service, and operations performed on this employee service are the get weekly hour limit and update the employee history. So here we have seen the task-centric approach. The two different tasks are again identified. Then in entity-centric approach, we have identified the entities. But here some services are not based on entity. So such services comes under the term called as application services. So designing the application services. So here the application service is what? Notification is what? The application service. So sending the email, sending the SMS, sending the notification is a part of application services. So database may sometime required or not required. So sending message to the employee, sending message to the manager, it's a part of the notification phase. So we are covering all the tasks what we have identified in the task-centric approach with the help of entity-centric as well as application services, designing the application services for fulfilling the task which we have identified in task-centric approach. So notification services is the name of the service, and here notification service is the name of the service, and operations performed is the send message to employee, send message to manager. So the operation names. So this is what the identification of entity and application services based on the task centric approach. So see here, designing the service-oriented business process. So in service-oriented designing, the first step is compose SOA. Second step is designing the entity-centric services. Third step is designing application-centric services. Fourth step is designing the task-centric services. And fifth step is designing the business processes. So designing the business process based on the entity-centric approach. So comparing the recorded hours with billed hours, confirm authorization, compare weekly hour limit with hour recorded in case of timesheet acceptance flow, and in case of rejection, update history and sending the message. So here the term called as service orchestration. So service orchestration is the fifth step of our service oriented design process, and in that designing process we are integrating or controlling. We require a control service which controls the operation performed by these three steps, three services sequentially. So first perform the first task. If the first task is again successful, then perform the second task. If the second task is successfully executed, perform the third task. So to control this, you require a separate service, a separate flow, and that process is called as service orchestration. So service orchestration is a part of business process, the last step of that service oriented design. So update the employee history table and send the messages. So see here diagrammatically, service orchestration means what? So integrating the different tasks sequentially. So first sequence is what? Compare the recorded hours with billed hours, then confirm the authorization, compare the weekly hour limit with the hours recorded, then task-centric approach. Two tasks we have already identified, verify timesheet service and reject the timesheet service. It's a part of task-centric. So business process, then the task-centric, business process, task centric. After task centric, entity centric. So three important entities are again identified: invoice, timesheet, and employee. And the application service, one application service is again identified, and the name of that application service is notification service. So this is what the timesheet entity structure we required for performing different tasks. So in the next lecture, I am showing you a prototype, and with the help of that prototype we'll perform different operations on the database tables. So total 5 operations I am performing on these tables in my next video lecture. And see here, this is what the final flow, final sequence of our timesheet submission process service. So first step is what? Receiving the input from the worker. So timesheet is received from the worker, and based on the timesheet you retrieve the recorded hours from the timesheet, and retrieve the billed hours from the invoice table, and then invoke, compare the billed hours with the recorded hours. If the recorded hours and billed hours are matched, then switch to the next web service. The next web service is based on the timesheet service. So in timesheet service, get the author means authorization, you check that overtime hour is again available. Yes, if the overtime hour is again available, then check the authorization is given by the customer, yes or no. If yes, then switch to the next service. So get the authorization is yes, then switch to the next service. The service is employee service. So in employee service, you check the last condition, which is what? The weekly hour limits, and that weekly hour limit is means recorded hours are less than weekly hour limits. So compare the weekly hour limits. So recorded hours less than weekly hour limits, then accept the web service, and so accept the timesheet and ends the process there. If any one condition is again fails, then throw the error. So throw the if the first condition fails, throw the error here itself. Second condition fails, throw the error here itself. If the third condition fails, then throw the error here itself. So this is what the procedure of sequence of this timesheet submission process. If all the three services executed successfully, the meaning is timesheet is accepted. And if one of the service fails, the meaning is timesheet is rejected. So this is what the today's lecture. So today I am just covering the implementation of analysis and design based on timesheet submission process. In my next lecture, I am showing you the prototype with the help of the table. So I'm using the table structure, and from the table we are retrieving the data as per our requirement, so that our analysis and designing is completed. Then we are moving further to the development phase. So today I am covering this much only. So today I am stopping here itself. So thank you.